Hello, everyone. This is Domingo with Welcome Home Podcast. We hope that this podcast encourages you to fall in love with Jesus more. Enjoy this next episode.
I feel really good. I guess last week I mentioned how I was not eating from fasting, and then how I was off social media. Well, I kind of was moved to continue doing the social media fast, just because it helped me feel better. Just in general, I just felt super clear-headed, and I felt like I could just move forward and not have to worry about what everybody else is doing in life and not feel peer pressure to do things. And then with food, I noticed at the moment I broke the fast, bro, I ran to the kitchen table so fast in my house and started eating stuff, and I felt convicted so fast because I started eating like chips and like salsa and like all this stuff, and I was like, oh man, like it felt gross because it felt like instead of having a fast where I'm actually pursuing the Lord, it felt like the week for the food wise, it started to become like, oh my gosh, I just want to get over with it just so that I can go stuff my mouth with this stuff that I'm supposed to be giving up. Yeah. Not because it's bad, like it's good to eat, but it's just like the level of which I did it is what had me be overweight. And it just became an idol in my life, So I guess I was just moved with through prayer. I was just moved just to continue, not a full fast, but maybe just have a small meal in the morning, then a normal meal like at lunch, and then a small meal, or I guess just like a small thing during dinner, just enough to keep me going. So it's just enough where I'm not stuffing my face. I have 3 set times. And I'm still able to feel that hunger because I'm obviously still hungry because I'm big, like I want to eat more. But I've been able to change that time with like pursuing the Lord more. So yeah, I feel good. I feel really good.
That's good.
I don't feel weighed down by what's on my phone.
Yeah, I totally spaced out, but I was gonna bring that up because I went back on social media, and. Bro, it's made me feel like horrible again. Like I just noticed a difference in like my mood and like my thoughts on just issues in life and stuff. I'm just like, what the heck? Why do I do this? Seeing all these like just clips about the current state of politics. And I mean, it's an election year, so things are going to get wild in terms of news and reporting on different things. So I'm just thinking, man, what the heck? Why am I doing this? It's not helping me. And it's like a marked difference between last week and this week when I wasn't scrolling. It's pretty intense how much influence that can have on our mentality.
What website or social media platform for you?
For me, I think Instagram is where I follow like a lot of different news and things like that. Yeah. Facebook for me is more like family and friends.
Have you been using Facebook a lot too, or not really?
Not a ton. No. It's like Instagram is like that time killer.
Yeah. I tried hopping on
as you get an Instagram notification.
Yeah. Oh, it's not mine. It's Erica's. Erica's my girlfriend. She signed in to my phone, so I'm getting her notification. That's fun. I'm glad I'm not getting them. I tried. I think I mentioned last week that I tried getting back on Friday. Last Friday when the fast was over.
Yeah.
For the church, when we were all doing it, and I tried getting back on, and I just immediately felt like I was getting attacked. I hopped on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at separate periods of the day, and man. Like, when I was on Twitter, or I guess X is what it's called now, but Twitter is just kind of like, that's where all, like, my football stuff, because I love football, but I keep with, like, the Oregon Ducks and stuff. But there's just so many things that are just, like, time killers that I'm just watching on there. And, like, the ads, all of the targeted ads that they're trying to get me with, like, trying to get me on sports betting, and they're trying to get me on different things. Then with Instagram, and I'll hop on Instagram, and Instagram is, like, just like Facebook, they're like tracking the activity on your phone.
Yeah.
So like if you've been looking at like I don't know, like different things, how to lose weight or different things, a bunch of targeted ads are going to come at you.
Yep.
And it just gave me anxiety right away. Like, that's the reason why I hopped off of it, because I was like, man, like, it feels as if they are just trying to find ways to sell me something.
Yeah.
Or turn me into this perfect human.
Yeah. And
that is not what humanity was made for. You know, humanity itself is not perfect. Humanity itself. So it's like Instagram keeps selling this unattainable thing to a mass population of people, and people are just buying it up because people are like, I need to be perfect. And I don't know. I've just been getting reminded of like, nobody is good besides Jesus. Like there's nobody who's perfect besides Jesus, God. Like there's nobody perfect besides God. So that's, I guess the reason why I've been fired up is because since I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on Twitter, X or whatever, I'm not on TikTok. Those are the places that were tempting me the most. With sin, with pride, with trying to show off and be cool, maybe even like end up looking at things that I don't want to look at, right? And since that's like all out of my life, let me tell you, like I don't feel tempted. Like I don't feel like I have to show off to people anymore. I don't feel as if I need to fix something in the world, which I mean I still do, which I want the world to know Jesus. But it's like I removed all of those other things about war and things that are just taking up my mind and giving me worry. And not to say it's a bad thing. I could check in on those things regularly, but like I don't want to right now. It's messing with me, and I love the fact that I get to just focus on Jesus for this period of time. Yeah. And I feel like that's actually really healthy for almost all people to do. Yeah. Like at least give out like 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month. Just be like, this month, I'm not going to get on social media. I'm going to dedicate to Jesus. That's what I feel like I've been called to do through Lent. That's why after the week of prayer and fasting, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pray about this. And I felt really strongly that I needed to continue for the rest of Lent to not get on social media. Bro, when I tell you the difference that I've seen, I have so much hope in life. I feel way more optimistic. One thing that has been happening is I get really irritated really fast. And that's something that I've been needing prayer for. Actually, last Monday, we had the young adults group, and we had small groups. We set into like groups of 3 or 4 people. And they said, what is something that you've been growing in, something that you've been struggling with? And I said, surprisingly, I feel really optimistic. But also surprisingly, I've been getting really frustrated really fast with people. Really irritable, I guess, is a thing. And I think funny enough, both of the things that I've been fasting answer those 2 things. One of them is the fact that I've been feeling optimistic because I'm not drugged up by social media, and I feel like I'm feeling irritable because I'm probably hangry. So I hope those things balance out. Yeah, that's my long answer. But yeah, I guess I'll just hop into the question. And I mean, I don't know who'd want to answer this first, but the question is, what is a trip you've taken that has had a big impact on your spirituality, on your spiritual walk? A big trip you've taken. It could be at any point. And I guess while you guys are thinking, I'll probably just go. Unless you guys have one.
Oh, I could talk about mine. Yeah, real quick.
Go for it.
You guys can ask me questions or stop me at any place if you want to know more about it. But because this was a long time ago. I mean, this was back in 1999, 2000. And I was 18 years old. Yeah. And after I graduated high school, I had the opportunity to work at my church that I was attending for a year as an intern. And so part of that was I went to India. Yeah. And complete culture shock, especially as an 18-year-old. For that trip, I mean, I remember sights and sounds. I remember just the way of life being completely different over there than here in the States. We landed, and I stayed the night. I was hosted by a family.
Where at?
In Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that? It's also known as Bombay. It's on the West Coast. I think they would consider it southern, or maybe not southern. I don't know. It's kind of central
Southern India.
In central part of India, I think, on the coast. And the very next morning, we took a bus ride into inland and to like a family camp, basically. And it was intense. Like being on a bus, not knowing anybody. Thankfully they speak English, and riding on this bus for hours. I don't even know how long it took, but because of the logistical and transportation, issues that they have over there, the roads and the amount of people, it was hours and hours. And that whole time there were people on the road, living in shanty houses or just on the side of the road selling stuff. It was, like I said, it was a shock to me. But I'm so thankful for it, to be able to experience it, to be able to see a different way of life, and to be able to meet Christians in another country, and to carry that with me, through my life as a memory, to know the way we live here in the United States, and the way that we do church, the way that we do things as a Christian culture in America is completely different than how it's done in different parts of the world. But were you going to say something, Domingo?
I was going to ask you a question about you seeing it and being shocked. What about it were you shocked by, specifically?
I think just the sheer volume of humans.
It does have a lot of people living in India, huh?
Right. Billions of people,
yeah.
Right? And the fact that I was on a bus for hours driving inland to sort of a remote part of the country, and there was never no people on the side of the road. It's here in Oregon, we can drive right from Newport to Corvallis or whatever, and it's forest, right? It's wilderness, and there's nobody there. Now imagine driving, that length of highway, and there just being people just on the side of the road, like I said, walking, living in homes that they built out of whatever was around, and no sanitation, right? These are not developed cities. It's just villages.
They found a spot and they're I'm just going to live here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost borderline, because were they do you think they were making money? Doing income stuff, having jobs, whatever?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
But found a pitched up tent and just lived there.
Or just selling things on the side of the road. I don't know.
Just grinding. Wow. That's crazy.
And then getting to the camp, and I was an 18-year-old, and I was kind of going through this trip a little bit in shock of things.
Yeah.
And I found a lot of peace hanging out with the kids there, who were probably young teenagers, maybe middle schoolers, and playing cricket with them.
I wanted to try cricket. It looks scary though, for some reason to me.
Yeah, I know little to nothing about the sport, but I was there, and they love that sport there in India. It's huge. And so they had a tennis ball, and they had a cricket bat, and I just, I played baseball as a kid, so I just went in there and just
cranking them out, destroying them. You guys suck. This was invented here. I could invent it myself.
Just enjoying that time with them, being just the simplicity of these kids, just hanging out and enjoying a sport they love. And I don't know, it's
you can ground yourself there.
Yeah.
In a way, because all this other stuff going on, you were able to find solitude in the midst of that.
Yeah.
With them.
Kids having fun, and, there were other things. I spoke one night, because it was a family camp. So they'd have services with adults, and then the kids would just go off and do things. So that whole trip, I would just say, has stuck with me my entire life. I remember just the mass of humanity. I remember the huge spiders at the camp that would just build a web in the door frame.
Heck no.
I
hate spiders. I hate spiders, man. They're so scary.
The bathrooms are basically just a hole. They don't have toilet seats. You just squat right over a hole if you need to go to the bathroom.
Like a potty type thing,
but with no seat.
Jeez. Yeah.
The food was amazing. I remember eating curried goat.
Ooh.
It's really good.
Dang, that sounds bomb.
Yeah.
Was it spicy? Like really spicy?
It probably was, but I probably was so hungry it
Phase you?
didn't matter. Yeah.
Bro, there's some massive spiders in India.
Don't even.
Yeah. Like big orb spiders.
Yeah. It's too much.
And what else?
Even this one, just like look at his guy's fingers next to it.
Nah, bro.
I remember riding. So the camp, we were there for, I don't remember how long, maybe 3-4 days, whatever. I remember riding back in a cab.
That's fake.
And
There's no way a spider can get that big. Holy crap.
Sorry.
riding back from the camp with my pastor at the time, and he was on one side of the cab and I was on the other side, or a hired car. I don't know who it was, and then somebody was sitting in the middle, but we had the windows down the whole time. And when we got to our destination, we looked at each other, and like basically the side of our bodies that was hanging out the window on the ride back was like covered in like dirt. So like basically this is such a this is just like a funny odd memory that I have.
Yeah.
Like I looked at him, his side of his body that was on the side of the window was covered like in dirt, like basically just from the drive, and my side of my body that was out the window was covered. And I just remember looking at each other and just laughing.
Yeah.
And it was just
That's
like
a dope moment. Yeah.
it's just hilarious. Wow. Like just to kind of encapsulate like that trip, like the amount of just undeveloped area and land in that country, in that area that I visited, and the sheer amount of people was astounding. But you know, it really left its mark on me, and I was so thankful to have experienced it.
Sounds like a dope trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a really good trip.
I have one more question, I guess. The thing about, I guess, it's kind of a question, but I've had a lot of friends. I mean, doing missions, I have had a lot of friends that have gone to India and have said how it's such I guess for like easy understanding, diverse country in itself. Not that there's like tons of like people from other cultures living there, but just the fact that Indians themselves have like over 900 languages and religions, and it's crazy the way they live, the way that they believe things, reincarnation, how they believe like if somebody's homeless or living on the street with a sickness, it's because in their past life they did something wrong.
Yeah.
And doing all that stuff. So like giving them money can sometimes be considered bad luck by some people because they're like, well, why are you giving them money? Like they deserve that.
Yeah.
Anyways, one really scarring story, and I want to ask if you actually dealt with that. Well, there was one girl that said that she went to India with her missions team, and that they got on a bus, and when the bus stopped, that people that looked like men, or it was weird, either or, got on the bus and were like forcing people to like look at their like thing that was like all weird and like transfigured, and forcing them to like give them money. But it's been, apparently India's been getting like really, really weird whenever you get to like really weird areas. So I was going to say, have you experienced, or did you experience anything crazy or weird like that?
No, I didn't. My recollection was that they were very hospitable, very welcoming, loving people, the people that I was with. I do get a sense, though, that they were keeping me from going to certain places. And
Dude, that messed me.
they were like watching out for me. I do remember at one point on the bus, we stopped and to use the restroom, and like one of the guys who was around my age, like was sure to be like very close to me, and like following me around. And then at the camp,
Like one of you guys, one of your guys was following.
yeah, somebody from the church, the local church there. At the camp, I remember at one point one of the kids came back, and they had like a Coke, or they had something like a drink or something, and I was like, "Hey, where'd you get that from?" And he made it sound like there was a shop or a village nearby, And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'd like to go. And they were like totally against that. They were just like, no, we're just going to stay here at the camp, basically. So yeah, I did understand that they were protecting me probably from certain things. And then the bus ride, I believe, I don't think it was a public bus. I think like everybody on that bus was with the church. So it must have been some kind of chartered bus. Funny thing though, the bus was like, every time the bus would go up an incline and have to stop, like I remember there was a dude, a bus worker, who had like blocks or rocks. Every time the bus stopped, this guy would run out of the bus with the blocks and stick them under the tires on the back of the bus to prevent the bus from rolling backwards.
Bro.
So it was like,
Get me off, dude. No way.
so,
I'll walk.
so sketchy, dude. Like, okay, so I guess the brakes probably aren't too reliable, but now I remember this guy got a workout. He was running like back
Constantly.
and forth. Yeah. Keeping us safe.
So how did this trip impact you spiritually?
I think it was just eye opening. It gave me a lot of gratefulness as an 18-year-old, right? Just graduating high school, I'd been like, as a high schooler, I'd gone to Mexico, done missions trips, done BBSs in like Ensenada area.
Let's go.
But this trip was just a whole new level. So really God just like softening my heart for his people, opening my eyes and really implanting in me this memory of other believers around the world, how they live and the things that they face, the things they deal with, and that gratefulness. I think like not forgetting like, man, we are blessed in this country. But over there, like I said, the level of hospitality and gratefulness that those people carry with them is huge. They're very open to the gospel because it's a very spiritual place. It's a very spiritual culture, right? As you mentioned, Kevin, with the different types of religions and things, people are open to hearing about Jesus. And,
just like they are to other religions though, too.
Exactly.
So it's
right?
not like, oh, it's just another religion. Maybe this one will work.
Yeah. So there's this openness, but there's this opportunity for the power, right, of the Holy Spirit to be demonstrated there, to show them like this is not like another religion. This is the one true God. So I'll never forget it. It was great.
Sweet. Thanks for sharing. That was awesome. Get on a bus in India. Going up.
Not me.
Yeah, dude.
Not me. Especially the spiders too. You got buses that are on brakes and spiders, bro. Heck no, dude. I'm out.
Domingo, what is a trip you've taken that has had a big impact on you spiritually?
So let's see. I'm thinking of one. I'm just trying to think of how to like talk about it. There was a church that I was a part of, youth group specifically. Ow, you just kicked me. It's okay. And that's your space. Stop touching my feet, bro. Trying to play footsies. What's up, weirdo?
His foot is in my area of the table.
I have long legs. I'm 6'2", bro. I'm like,
Right
you're 5'2". It's like I need more space than you. Anyways, I was part of this youth group, and
I'm gonna roast him back.
yeah, later after the podcast ends. But they wanted to plan a trip to the Dominican Republic, Jarabacoa specifically, and I'm like, dude, I want to go so bad. Like, but at the funds and stuff, wasn't in my favor. We just like made it happen. Like the church like helped, we started selling things and the church helped, my funds and stuff. And, so we ended up going on this trip and it was so fun though. I think, well, like as soon as we got there, we were staying in this hotel and it was a beautiful hotel with a beautiful pool and like, just a beautiful scenery and everything. One thing, and I've never been to this is my first time ever being outside of the country. And they told me, and this is the first time I ever heard this, was do not drink the water. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we can't drink the water? Like, what am I supposed to do when I shower, brush my teeth. Like I can't let it go into my mouth. That it makes no sense to me. They're like, there's water bottles and stuff, da, da, da. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I don't mind. And so it's like YOLO type stuff. Cause it was back in like 20. Yeah.
So long ago.
And so, dude, so long ago. What is that? Like 5, 6 years ago? 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyways, we went there and we were at the hotel and they told me that. And then I was like, this is like trippy. Cause I don't know. I've never like heard any, like, don't drink the water. Like I've never heard that before. And so I knew at that moment, this is going to be like a totally different experience for me. And being somebody that was very sheltered when I was growing up and, you know, never really went out anywhere. Like the farthest I've ever gone when I was younger was to Seattle, which is like an hour and a half from where I used to live. And that was like a trip. It's like, dude, we're going to Seattle. That's so far away. And so when I got this trip going on, it was like hours and hours away, different country. It was super cool. We went there to do mission work at this school, Doulos. I think it's like still going on in Harabacoa. And we were just doing like service work, you know, painting fences, cleaning up debris or whatever it is, worshiping, doing like devos with the school, you know, hanging out with the kids. And bro, when we got to the school for the first time, it was like so incredible. And you good, Kevin? You look like you're about to pass out, bro. And when I first interacted with like one of the kids at the school, they were all wearing uniforms. And it was really interesting because, you know, when we're back here, you know, in the United States, you can tell by someone's like household how much income, whatever they make by their clothes, essentially, you know, sometimes stereotypically speaking. And for them, it wasn't their their clothes. They all wore the same uniform. It was their shoes. Mm-hmm. And so like you see somebody that has really nice, like, you know, Nikes on, it's like, oh, that family could be, you know, pretty well off. So there's like that side of things and like the school and like go and do mission work there. And then we went to like a different part of the city where, you know, it was like poverty. Like there was like no middle class. It was either you are really poor and you're living out of like concrete buildings, like concrete things that you made, or you're like really well off. Mm. And so when we went to this other part of the city to do like, I think it was like, you know, breaking up the ground, expanding this land for a school to use as like a playground. They're going to build a playground or something on it. And dude, that was like, it was so hot. And I remember using a pickaxe and I was breaking into the ground and I was pulling up and like swinging over my back like fire ants. Yo, I was so itchy for like hours, dude. I couldn't even think straight. It was so bad. It was so bad. And so we're in this hot sun doing this, whatever. And then we go back to, it was kind of like up in the mountains. So we're like driving by like these mansions going up this mountain. And then we drove back to go into this like kind of impoverished area. And we're going to get fed there. And I just remember kind of driving up. We were like, you know, walking around, waiting for food, And they bring out our food and it's like chicken, rice, beans. It's like really good food. And, you know, working in the hot sun, it's like tastes so good. And somebody asked like, hey, like, how did you make this? What, you gonna roast me? No, I'm waiting for it. But we asked like, how did you even make this food? And we go into the woman's house where she made it. And there was like two like built kind of concrete cube looking like spaces where they put the pot on the concrete walls and underneath you build like a little fire or whatever. That was like really eye-opening for me because, you know, we have stoves and we have all this technology or whatever, and we don't even think twice about it. But this person really has to like make a fire to like make her food. And it was better than the food that we make at home, you know? And so just like, it's cool to be able to see someone utilize, you know, little amount of what they have to bless somebody in that way. And so at that point, you know, the culture, and I wasn't like thinking about much about the culture, but now thinking back on it, the culture itself was so hospitable. And even though they didn't have anything, they wanted to just bless people. That rocked me because we didn't have a whole lot. And I remember just holding all of it, like death grip type, like survival mode. And so we go back to the school. I remember getting this new Samsung S8 phone. I was like so stoked about it, dude. And I remember listening to music on the plane. Like I was having so much, like, you know, admiring this phone and just being so about this phone too. While I was working at the school, I was painting a fence, listening to music or like on my phone. And I dropped my phone into this oil-based paint. And it's like soaked in oil-based paint now. And dude, I was like, you know, us like as we're Americans, like we're so about our stuff, right? I was like, dude, I need to get this phone cleaned. Like, how in the world am I supposed to clean this phone now? And one of the ladies that was like, she lived at Arabacoa. She went, you know, I think she worked at the school, cleaned my phone for me. Dude, she was just like, give me it. And then she started having all these towels and was like taking all the paint off and she just cleaned it for me. And
it still worked?
And it still worked. And it still worked, yes. I think the phone, like me talking on the phone or hearing and stuff was kind of messed up. But other than that, like, it worked fine. And so that was like something that was just seeing, you know, how attached I was to like this technology. And then, you know, thinking about back where they lived, they may be thinking about technology, but they're not necessarily attached as much as we are. And that was eye-opening for me because I was like, maybe I'm holding this stuff too closely. And I need to be able to separate this. I need to make sure that I don't put this like above God. Cause I was like a new Christian too. And I was trying to figure out how to place God in my life and other things and trying to find out the priorities and stuff. And one moment in, you know, this whole trip, that really helped me spiritually. And then after this, you guys can ask whatever questions you want. We went to the school first thing in the morning and we held worship there. And I was on the cajon like I've been playing the cajon for a while, but that was like the first time that I really worshiped because I don't know. It was like I played on a stage at a church before that and it wasn't nothing like this because the people that were there were doing it in a different language and we were doing it in our language. I think it might have been Spanish, but like a different dialect. But we were just in worship together. And it was so crazy to me because I didn't realize that we could be like God's presence could be so heavy there when we were worshiping because we're in a different country. And it just didn't make sense to me. Like I couldn't comprehend it. That was like a really big moment for me too, because I'm like having this moment where we're spiritually connected, everybody, you know? So that was really cool. It was a lot.
Did you say that you were worshiping in Spanish?
So there are people there that were,
yeah.
And then I just worshiped, you know, in my own, obviously in English. And
I thought you were going to say some crazy language. In the mother tongue,
yeah.
English.
In English. And so I was just hearing other people speak in Spanish too. Like as I'm worshiping, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Like 2 different languages happening in the same room. And then I go to 1YL, the Young Life Conference, and there's like 112 countries and they're all singing in their native tongue. That's crazy.
Yeah,
so like,
awesome.
Anyways, but like back then I didn't ever hear that before.
Yeah.
I thought that was super awesome.
Dang.
It's like the same God, man.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're experiencing that culture. You're reminded of like similar things to what I was reminded of in India. Mm-hmm. It's that way of life. It's just so humbling as a believer in America to visit other countries. I mean, I already said it, but the things that we get like mad about or sad about
affects us, yeah,
or irritated about in our country. How silly.
Yeah.
When this woman who made you guys lunch, like, who knows her financial situation or whatever. Maybe she got money from
the church or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. But
maybe
still, she made you guys food.
Yeah.
And like, she didn't just go in her kitchen with like, you know, granite countertops and just like turn on a switch.
That'd be nuts.
And
Yeah.
with her natural gas stove. Like,
Yeah.
no, like she
No.
had to get some wood from somewhere.
Something.
Start a fire.
I just go there and this is just ash. You're like, what
Yeah.
did you just do, bro? That's crazy.
Like my grandma.
Come on, bro.
Make a little fire for you. Want some beans? Makes a little fire.
Yeah, it was. And the thing is, too, like, as I'm thinking about it, as you were talking about her serving us and like giving the hospitality, we weren't all like Mexican. I think there might have been like 2 or 3 brown people out of like a 20-person group. And a lot of them were white, which there's not anything like bad about that. But like just thinking about us being on their land, us being in their world, and them serving us in this way, it's like it's such a sacrificial thing for them. Because that's a very vulnerable thing too, you know, being in that spot, being in that area, because everybody knew what that area was, you know, and there's like all these little stigma things that you could come up with or think about as you're thinking, you know, this is a impoverished area. But she didn't, I don't know if she ever thought about that. She was just like, oh, I get to serve these people. This is awesome.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But yeah, I don't know. And the food was so good.
That's a great memory.
Dude, and I remember we were playing basketball because they were very into basketball. They called it knockout. And these kids were just like, let's play knockout, let's play knockout. And as we were playing, they used me as a jungle gym. Like they would be jumping on me and like, you know, on my arms, on my legs, like all the things. And I was like, what is happening, man? Like these kids are just so joyful and so like wanting to be with you and hang out with you and talk to you, and looked like they were just hungry for that affection and hungry for that connection. Yeah. And I destroyed them so bad at basketball. Like they had nothing on me. I was like Michael Jordan in Dominican Republic. It was nuts.
Oh man. Do you recall seeing many? Well, how old were you on that trip?
I was like 21 or 22.
So do you recall seeing Dominicans your age, or like men like dads met much? Just curious. I'm just curious.
No. I think there was one guy that was our tour guide that he was white. I don't even think he was from there. But as you're talking about it, I don't remember. I just remember like women interaction.
Yeah. Because
that was like mainly, I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember.
Thinking about my trip to India, like that, I have a parallel to what you described when I was playing cricket with these kids. Like and we played other games throughout the camp too, but you do in a sense become this superstar where they just like gravitate towards you. Just like an older male, you know? And it's interesting. So that's why I just thought I'd ask. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I don't.
The male influence.
I mean,
it's huge. It's important.
Super huge. I remember there's one family, because we kind of broke up our group into like 2 or 3 people. And we were given opportunity to go to some families' houses to see how they live and to ask them questions. And there I saw a male role model. Like I saw someone like a father of the home. Like it was like structured like, you know, how we would imagine it. You know, he had authority, and like the wife like was there with the kids and was, you know, nurturing and all that, hospitable. And so in that sense I did. But I don't know. In that visit too, as I'm talking about it, I remember showing them pictures of where we lived. And this is crazy because they've never seen snow before. And so I was like showing them like mountains with snow on it, and like, this is the place that we just go to. They were so amazed by that. Yeah. They were like, we want to go. Like, we want to go see snow, because they've just never have had that opportunity. And I thought that was really sweet.
Dang. This is bringing up good memories.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember any bad memories from that. I remember this kid, Fernando, had a little puppy, and he would spin the dog. And I'm like, bro, you're going to hurt the dog, man. What are you doing? It's like this little tiny puppy, and he's just spinning it. I don't think he understood what I meant, but he just like looked at me and just kept spinning it. And I'm like, dude, what? And this puppy was pretty cute. And this kid was like so awesome. I remember him being really cool. That was another fun moment. I'm like, dude,
Bro,
what the heck?
that's a tangent. This is a tangent, but like people don't treat dogs in other countries the way we treat dogs in America.
No.
So
There was a ton of strays there too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they are. They're street dogs, man.
Yeah.
They clean up. They clean up leftovers. They do. I don't know if many people having dogs sleep on their beds in other countries like we do, man.
No. Dude, I've let Oso up on my bed and he's peed on it twice. On my side of the bed only.
Dang.
I don't know if that's like a dominant thing, but I
Yeah.
put him in the cage right after.
He's
I'm
mad
like,
at you.
"Dude,
He's mad at you.
this is my home." It's like, no, it's not. You better figure it out. Dog.
Kevin, wake up. Kevin's falling asleep.
You should have gotten your Zevia. I feel like since you haven't had your Zevia, you're not.
Zevia. Zevia is a non-sugar drink.
I think it's like motivating to him when
Yeah.
he drinks it. He's
It's-
like,
I just want to clarify because maybe
It's
some people don't know what Zevia. I honestly didn't know what Zevia was until maybe like 3 months ago.
dude,
So it's not like
addicted.
it's not like a prescription medication.
Oh.
In other words, Kevin, you need your Zevia, bro.
I like ibuprofen. You got to take your Zevia, bro. But yeah, I just think Kevin's kind of out of it because he hasn't had a Zevia.
So
What about you, Kevin? What have you got?
I just got on my notes and I'm like reading this thing. Apparently, I forgot about this. I used to write life updates. I might go through this later, but this is really cool. I'm basically writing about my year in 2018, like everything that I did, and like the whole year, like written out, and then like next steps that I want to do in 2019, and it's really cool. I'm reading like stuff that I'm like dreaming about, and a lot of the stuff actually happened. Like, what the heck?
Like start a podcast.
Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, we should probably finish this before you get into that.
Now,
That could be a different pod too.
I'm thinking I'll probably break this up into a 2-parter.
okay, so I figured it out. I had two different things that I was going to talk about, and I'm only going to talk for like 2 minutes. One of them was like, well, I don't know. It's just like I just have like two direct, I think, specific things. I guess one thing is Lebanon. I mean, there's so many different ones. There's like the trip in Taiwan had specific things. I'll talk about that in a different episode. One of the trips in Mexico was really impactful, but I guess like specifically, the ones that just came up to my like the forefront of my mind were just Lebanon, the Middle East, and Hawaii last year. I'm probably just gonna talk about Lebanon really quick. So we went to the Middle East just from that church, and we met this guy named Adam, and I guess he was like kind of our host. And I was deathly afraid to go to the Middle East. I thought I was going to get killed for my faith. And I thought that, like, I don't know. I legit just thought I was going to die. I'd look up anything about Lebanon on like Safari, and like stuff would just come up with like buildings with bullet holes. And I was like, I'm done for. Like, I'm not going to live. I'm not coming back. And then
Dang.
I guess we just spent time there. No, I don't guess. I know. We spent time there, and something that blew my mind is we got to break Ramadan fast with Muslim refugees, like every day. And it was cool. Sometimes it was like so sad. But I think the thing that impacted me the most spiritually was the fact that I met people, Christians there specifically, apart from the Muslims. I met people that actually believed in something so much that they were willing to die for it.
Mm-hmm.
I met Christians, or I guess I heard of Christians, of people that were so used to hearing about death and living for something, and that thing being your purpose, and not being afraid of it. Like, I guess for like the Christians that are there, not being afraid that they're like surrounded by Muslims and living that out. That was the most impactful thing to my spirituality I think I've ever experienced. I think that's kind of like one of the points that got me to come back and be like, I absolutely do not care what anybody does here in America about my faith. At least I'm not going to get killed in the public or beheaded in front of my whole family for it. Like, I don't know, like at worst I'll get like spit at. I don't know, like just dumb stuff. So that's it. The one in Hawaii was just cool, just because I went last year, and there's thousands of missionaries there at that missionary Hawaiian base, and just getting to worship with them and seeing so many like young people in love with Jesus. It was very motivating. Yep.
Well, Kevin, you've been to a lot of different places. I mean, Lebanon, Taiwan, Kona, Mexico. Where else? Anywhere else?
I mean, spent time in Yakima. That's another country.
Montana.
Yakima, Washington. I lived there for a little bit
You lived in Yakima?
for school.
How long was that?
Like not a lot, like 4 months.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Yakima in 2017. In 2009, I was in Montana for like
Yeah.
the 6-month school. I was in Salem. I lived in Salem for a couple months for the Bible school, to learn the whole biblical context thing. But yeah.
So in your travels, like, well, first of all, what led you to go to these different places? Just like in general, like why not just
Learning.
why not just stay home and like go to church?
I think,
good.
well, simple. It's not very simple. A lot of Christians are really scared to be stretched in different points in their life. For some people, it's starting something new. For some people, it's changing what they're so used to. And for other people, it's just leaving their town. For some people, like the thought of going somewhere else where you don't have the comforts to run to, and having to even to like preach the gospel to other people, or to communicate the word with non-believers, that is like scary to some people. And for me, that stuff was like I want to be stretched. In Mexico in 2017, it was the first time. I mean, I was like 2-3 years into my walk. And that was my first time doing a mission trip in 2017 in Mexico. And that was the first time in like 3 or 4 years of my young faith that I was challenged to go and preach the gospel to some people. And I did it. I treated my way out of it, out of every single interaction, by acting like I was sick or by doing stuff. And I didn't want to. And this one interaction that I had completely changed my life. And it was just an opportunity where this girl was reading her Bible, and an old man walked up to her, and he was asking her questions, and she like had no idea. So my team, because none of them spoke Spanish, of course they came and found me, and so I finally couldn't hide anymore from evangelizing because I was deathly scared of it. This guy just went on to tell a story, which I'll tell one day. But it was very impactful, and it changed my life. No, he didn't tell me his story, but I told him the story of the Bible, and he heard it, all of it. Long story short, he ended up becoming Christian, and his life got redeemed. Actually, like legit, all in like 1 month that I was there.
Yeah,
1 or 2 months. So yeah,
wow.
The first person I ever evangelizing to, literally having their life completely changed, was what changed my life in terms of just the whole stretching part. Like, I want to do this again. I mean, obviously for anybody, if you do something like new and it's successful, bro, you're gonna want to keep doing that, you know?
Yeah.
That's what got me to keep doing it. Saw somebody's life change, and I was like, you know what? There's more people in the world that need that. Let's go.
Yeah.
So,
And your life has changed in the midst of it, too. I think that's what I hear from all of us in every experience that I've had traveling outside of the country or just a different part of our country, even stretching myself. God is faithful. When we put ourselves out there and stretch ourselves, get out of our comfort zones, God is faithful to teach us something. That's, I think, definitely a common thread that I see within each one of our stories and experiences. And we have more to share. We could talk more, but we've gone long already. What would you say as an encouragement, Kevin, to listeners?
My encouragement would be that so the question was, what is the most inspirational thing? Oh no. What is a trip that you've taken that has had a big impact on you spiritually? My motivation would be to ask God to make you uncomfortable. That is my tip. What things in your life, or where have you invited God into your life and said, Lord, I allow you to interrupt me. I allow you to interrupt this peace. I allow you to interrupt my comfortable life. That's what got me to like keep traveling and keep going places. Does that mean that I can't settle down? No, like I'm dreaming about that right now. Like just the point where you get to like settle down and have but like everybody's allowed to dream. But yeah, allow the Lord to stretch you and ask him how he can make you uncomfortable for his glory. Hey guys, you just listened to another Welcome Home podcast. We pray that your love for Jesus increases more and more every single day. If you want to see more content from Welcome Home Ministries, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Welcome Home Prayer Room. We hope that you have a beautiful week. God bless.